Recording. Oh shit, now we're Woo! We're here with
you're gonna have some Zoom recording management cleanup to do.
Yeah, that's where we got Alexa. So the Sara Morell #2, this divine accomplice. There she is. She's who edits and makes all that. All right. I am on fire about today, ready and so lightning activated to welcome Matt Hersh into the Fuel Enter program vortex of magic. I stumbled upon Matt's work somehow through a post of something on Instagram, and my body did this little thing, was like, oh, we're going to do a retreat together. Okay, where? And so I just reached out. I was like, yo, like, I think there's some synergy here. And he's like, interesting. I was just calling in, like, doing another retreat. And in our playing together, we discovered that I think there's a lot more magic to be shared in our codes and transmissions of what we're going to serve one another. So I've asked him to be one of our guest speakers to give to you guys a little bit of what Sara is missing. And he is the masculine approach to business and his accelerator program that really helps you embody the both sides of the masculine and feminine. So Matt, thank you. This is your show. I'm going to be pinging some of my Sara stuff as I go, if I notice. Otherwise, it might just be all you. And I love how you told your story on Instagram, what got you here, but then what you noticed, what started happening. So help us to enter into the Matt world and then take it over.
Totally. Thank you, Sara. Yeah, really, really grateful for the opportunity to be here and just be with you all and talk about something that I'm really extremely passionate about speaking about. So thank you for that. If it's okay with you, Sara, I'd love to, like, before we even dive in, I'd like to just get a sense of who I'm speaking to and what we're about. So if maybe like 1, 2, 3 people just want to share like what your goals are in Fuel, what are you looking to accomplish in just a couple sentences within this container.
I love it.
Courtney, I saw that hand up.
Hi, Matt. Yeah, my goal for Fuel is I'm an intimacy coach, a women's empowerment intimacy coach, and I want to launch my first group program and finding balance, between my masculine and the feminine wild side that seems to be running the show more than ever.
Cool. Well, today should be very fun for you.
Yeah.
Glad to have you. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else want to share their goal? And it could be the goal, like, I'm even thinking the goal of like why you joined Fuel, like not even today, but that was perfect. So thank you, Courtney.
Hi, Matt.
Hello. What's up, Nancy?
It's Nancy Marie. Thank you.
Nancy Marie. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So my goal for Fuel has really been to build wealth. And within that, I am like steps away from the leap between real estate agent support to being a real estate agent myself and building my own real estate business. Literally like about to take the leap.
And if you don't mind me digging a bit deeper, what about Fuel was the reason why you chose this container as the magic container to launch you there?
I mean, I've already been working with Sara and she is magic. So, you know, anything that she puts out, I know works because I look up to her and she is my mentor. And so I know that whatever it is that she's doing works because I see her. So I trust her. And, you know, this 12-week course of homework, the structure of that's what it is, the need for structure. Cause I also like in my feminine, a lot. And I just like, go whatever. And needing the structure to actually do the work is required for me.
Amazing. Thank you. I felt that initial trust. It was just easy to trust Sara like from the outset. So I love that perspective. Now I'd love to hear maybe 1 or 2 people, like what's been the most magical thing that you've experienced in the past time you've been in this container?
Love this. Crystal. Oh, Laura. Okay, Laura.
Mhm. I have understood my husband better.
That's
And-
important.
It is very important and gotten much closer in our relationship
Cool. Amazing. Powerful.
and more direction because I need that for building well.
Mm.
Thank you. Crystal, I saw that hand up.
I believe that Sarah has this fearlessness. She's facing her fears, and the courage that I see that she has is something that I'm manifesting more in me. Just her ability to fully face life and what it is that she wants. And so I've been watching her, and I've been learning from her on that end. And it's allowed me to take these micro steps and then ultimate leaps into more prosperity, into a greater sense of my being. Just yesterday, I was walking through Universal Studios with my family, and I was slouching a little, and then I heard Sarah's voice inside of my head, and she was like, stand tall as the queen that you are, and really walk the path that you know that you're on. And that's what I get from Sarah, is just this fire. And I was attracted to her from the beginning. So I've been here since the beginning of Fuel. And it's been really wonderful to see the growth, the fire, and to be part of it. And so I'm thinking that I'll probably be with her for life. She's amazing.
Yes, please. Not thinking. We know. I will say, Matt, that these people that you see here that are in this group are, I don't look at my clients how some people look at clients. And I hear other coaches talk about this a lot, and they're in a different view. To me, they're family. And I deeply love them. And honestly, in a lot of private one-on-ones, I cry. I can feel God's messages come through for them. If I have it my way, we will all grow old together. And from this life to the next life, it's a bond that's built for a lifetime. I'm really invested in them. Yeah. Yeah, they mean a lot to me.
Feel that.
Sacred.
Feel that. Well, with these themes of alignment, of wealth building, of connection, of embodiment, of really charging forward into life as powerfully and energetically and expressed as possible, today will be awesome. So that is really where we're going, especially from a business and career perspective. So I always like to begin my trainings, workshops, presentations with a little grounding, little meditation. So if you guys are up for that, cool. So if you're able to, you can get to a comfortable place, seated or standing. Just have your feet on the ground if you can. If you're driving, I understand that you'll have limitations, but just get as comfortable as you can. Let's start out with a big breath. Take that breath in from the earth into your lungs and exhale. Let's take 2 more of those. Really drawing that energy from the earth. Now let's reach your arms up high. Take a big breath in and just draw in energy from the universe, from the cosmos. And exhale. Take 2 more of those breaths at your own pace. Just continue with that deep breath, beginning to just come into this present moment. Take a moment to notice how your body's feeling. We're starting with a little body scan from the feet to the knees, to the hips, noticing what's present for you without judgment. Belly, diaphragm, the chest, what's present for you? Beginning to just relax about 10% more. Letting go of anything that we brought into this call, any fatigue, any anxiety, whatever it is, just allowing it, being with it, and coming into the present moment. And now let's take a moment to release anything that is after this call, any attachments, anything, any to-dos. Let's take this next 50 minutes to be that embodiment of our masculine focus, that presence. Let's take this next 50 minutes to be that embodiment of your feminine intuition. Just picking and choosing what we intuitively resonate with and letting go of what we don't. Knowing that we've all been brought here so that we can play bigger, serve bigger, be bigger, and enjoy life just a bit more. So let's bring that essence into today. And when you're ready, you can just begin to move physically, shake your body out, and slowly, at your own pace, open your eyes, sigh it out, and come back to this present moment. Everyone can just write in the chat how you're feeling. I love these. I'm right there with you. Love it. Mix of peace, presence, excitement, remembering, coziness. Those are all some great things to step into this with. And so I want to begin with just a quick introduction. My name is Matt Hersh, and I appreciate how Sara brought this together and let off with the introduction. I am a former engineer, got my master's in management, was a former business consultant, and now I am a business coach. And really my power lies in helping people who are really good at what they do get in tune with their natural gifts and create the systems and structures that they can use to express those gifts and work with the people that they're meant to work with to make the biggest impact on humanity possible. And in my quest to getting to that place of knowing my own essence, I came across this topic of masculine and feminine energy in business. And it's become an extremely sacred, important, and honestly a new topic for me that I am called to share about. And really what brought me here is the journey. I didn't know it at the time, but losing my dad when I was 15, it led me to really over-index on masculine energy. That void that I felt, I didn't even know I felt, led me to externally search for masculinity in a way that led me to achieving in school, led me to becoming a power lifter, trying to get as ripped and shredded as possible, to going to the best schools, working with the best, most competitive companies. And then when it came to my business, I brought that almost that borderline toxic masculinity into my business, and built my coaching business initially from the perspective of how can I work more? How can I grind more? How can I hustle more? How many more DMs can I send out? What do I need to analyze? What do I need to optimize? And you know what? It worked. It got my business going. Did 6 figures my first year, but I burnt out pretty quickly after that. Health issues, mental exhaustion, and just overall not fulfilled in life. And while I did have that, I could make my own schedule, I was working with great people, I did not feel a sense of freedom. I found the world of energy and embodiment, and it completely was a breath of fresh air for me. Started doing Reiki healing, network spinal, going to Dr. Joe Dispenza seminars, and this was it for me. Like it was magic. I started to really tune into my body and give myself what I needed: less lifting, more yoga, more intuitive decision making, more rest, more fun. And it was pretty epic. Like I definitely felt better. I was exponentially happier. In business, I would just like manifest clients, as they say. I would, be in Costa Rica, land 2 10K clients on the beach. That actually happened, and it was just epic. But the thing was that it was unpredictable and emotionally draining because I didn't have the structure and support within my business. My business was unpredictable. I had to continuously, in order for me to succeed in business, I had to put the energy in. And if I wasn't in a state to put in energy, it wouldn't work. So I ended up burning out again, this time just working less and having less money. And really in the past year, it's been my quest to find balance, to, I had an entire career built on analytics and optimization and structures and corporate strategy. And then I'd spent a couple of years just fully diving into the feminine expression. And this past year has been my quest to merge these 2 elements. And it's been pretty epic. Just in my business, I looked at my toggle, and my average is 15 to 30 hours working per week. I still work hard, but less than ever. My business is on track to grow over 120% from last year. And my clients are just getting legitimately better results, more standardized results than ever. And I really give credit to understanding my own masculine essence, integrating the feminine, and building the masculine structures to support the feminine magic that exists within me. That's what today's about. Let me do a little screen share here.
Woo! 120%. That's incredible.
That's a good percent.
Yeah.
I'll take it. All right, just give me 1 second here.
I love it if you guys chat anything that comes up for you, any questions or anything that is removing energy. Make sure you're engaged. Notes, just noticing in your body what he's talking about, what worked for him, what didn't work. Write it down.
Yes, please. Thank you, Sarah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna do a little screen share here. Oh, can I share my screen, Sarah?
You betcha. We are the Sara Morell II, the divine accomplice, is going to.
I just made him.
You are co-host.
Got it. So today, focus and flow. That is my model for understanding masculine and feminine energies within business. Today is all about balance. And I want just to give you context of today, a little bit more context. This is actually like a new area of presentation for me. And so you guys are getting the sneak peek. You guys are getting like what I would call my latest and greatest understanding of how this works. But it's definitely not refined and it's not fully optimized. So with that, please bear with if there's any like typos or anything, just bear with it. And feedback is incredibly appreciated. So anything that resonates, questions, I'm always happy to have conversations. I love to have conversations after. So note down anything that's noteworthy to you.
Amazing. We get to be on the cutting edge.
That's for real. And as I mentioned, yeah, after my big burnout, I set out to master my own energy. And really my intention was to build I always had this, I set a high bar for myself in a young age. How can I build a business that works with my natural energy flow? When I was in corporate, under fluorescent lights at a cubicle, I knew that that's not how humans are supposed to live. And I knew that it was possible to build a business that would not just give me the funds for life, but also fill me up with energy, and a business that filled my cup, and a life that filled my cup that I can give back to my business. So it's just this beautiful energetic flow where life and business were not separate. After burning out, I dove into all the practices that I thought I can utilize to better understand energy and how I can integrate it into my business. And I did. These were some of the most awesome, epic things that contributed to this. And within doing all of this and all this study, I believe, and I boiled down that one of, if not the most discussed yet unintegrated, simple yet misunderstood, usable yet underutilized models of understanding is the masculine and feminine energy dynamic. Another big one off the top of my mind is levels of energy. If you've been aware of that before, Frederick Dodson's a really good one, but this is just another model that's been a game changer for me. And kicking it off, I like to start with the punchline, is that we all have sacred masculine inner energy. We all have divine feminine inner energy. We all have an ability to expand our capacity to express both. We all have an ability to toggle between each. And it's that dexterity and expansion of capacity and effective expression, which is going to dictate health, wealth, and happy relationships. And so let's get into, and the way I want to structure today is just getting into the energies themselves, getting into how this can apply to business specifically, and then how we can integrate this into your life. So think about business as, I'm going to explain a macro model. Freedom will be more of a life will be more of a micro expression. So you have like the roadmap, and you have instantly implementable things that you can use today. Starting with the feminine, and everyone will have a different understanding of this. This was really just me like tuning in and writing down like, what is the feminine about? What's the masculine about? And it's not fully comprehensive, but the feminine it's soft. It wants to play. It wants to expand. It wants to allow for intuition to lead the way. It wants to feel. It wants to heal, express, and really surrender to that divine guidance, being in the present moment and enjoying life the whole time. The paradox is that in order to do all that, in order to hold all of that, she needs to be held herself. In order to fully give her gifts, she needs to have the energy. She needs to be filled with energy. In order to serve at her maximum capacity, she needs to be held by a stable, grounding force. And that can be done internally. Because without connecting to the masculine focus, she limits her feminine flow. Without cultivating masculine energy, she'll limit her expression, her feminine expression and embodiment. Because the masculine is what provides the security, the structure, and the support that allows the feminine magic to flow. I like to think about this from perspective of a pyramid. Pyramid can only go as high as the base is built. The base is the structure, it's the foundation. The top part, the fun part, the exciting part is dictated by the stability of that foundation. The masculine likes to hang out in the future, to build for the future. The masculine wants to drive forward and create that future with skills and strength and problem solving and purpose. And it's powerful. But the problem is that if he does it alone, without the feminine expression, he'll end up burnt out, repressed, and disconnected. And so in order to hold all of it, he must have a deep emotional capacity. He must be in tune with presence and poise. And he's got to meet that intellect with intuition, because intellect that's guided in a way that's not aligned is not serving at maximum capacity. So without connecting to his feminine flow, he limits his masculine focus. Without cultivating the feminine expression, he'll eliminate the total masculine expression and embodiment. Because it's the feminine that provides the self-love, alignment, connection, nourishment, the trust that the masculine needs to express the full power of the masculine. He needs to know that in his journey, that the feminine is there to nourish his needs, to make him become aware of his needs, to realign him to the present moment and make life worth living. And this is that paradox. I would write these two down. Ultimate freedom is built on a foundation built for the future. Ultimate fulfillment is found in the present moment. And people often chase the opposite. And to a degree, it can work, but it can only work to a point. People who often want that feeling of freedom will go chase the present moment. And that works in the moment. But if we want ultimate freedom over a lifetime, we need to build it on a stable foundation. And if we want fulfillment, often the people who chase that fulfillment are building something for the future, and so focused on that future fulfillment that they forget that fulfillment is actually found in the present moment. And so a couple principles here. These are rules of thumb that I just think are so powerful, and I leverage. It's that when you're over-indexed on one end, you're under-expressed on the other. And that's going to lead to unneeded stress and untapped potential. What you think you need is usually the opposite of what you need. Most men, most masculine presence, will believe that in order to increase his masculine, he'll go after the masculine activities, the hard stuff, the exercise, the physical, the working. And once again, that will work, but to a point. What I think that the collectively men need in order to express their true divine masculine, their sacred masculine, is to get in touch with their feminine and let their heart open, because that's what's going to create the empathy, the capacity, and the presence needed to embody that king. And for women, for feminine beings, it's what I see, especially in the energy and the spiritual world, is that the feminine will, in order to be more feminine, go after the feminine stuff, the embodiment, the practices, the presence practices. And again, that works to get in touch with the body and truly let out that instinct and intuition. But over time, what we actually need is a stable foundation, that castle that you can sit upon as queen. And so those are just beautiful rules of thumb that might shift your perspective here. It might trigger, and that is okay. And here's the key. Understanding your natural set point and knowing that you have the capacity to express both ends, expand your capacity to express both ends, integrating masculine and feminine into the fabric of your work, and then developing the dexterity to efficiently toggle between each energy in your life. And that's what we're gonna get into. Starting with business. You guys with me so far? Thumbs up if you are.
Mm-hmm. Feeling it.
Cool. With business, I thought to myself, like, how could I boil down this immense topic in business? And so I always come back to the question of, like, where do I do my best work? and this is what I work with my clients with too, is where do my clients do their best work? And so what I did was I came back to where I do my best work and how I do my best work. And so what I present here is the model in which I found to work for me, work for my clients. And that's what I'm sharing, as opposed to venturing into something that I'm not an expert in. And to give you context, my clients are often coaches, consultants, healers, visionaries, experts, people who are service providers and transformational humans who work with other humans to create transformation, whether that's wealth, health, embodiment. And so this section, we're going to get into the principles, the process, and key points. And it might be a bit like a fire hose. And so this is a moment to begin to practice your own sense of balance, using your feminine intuition to tune into what is useful, rejecting what's useless, and adding what's essentially your own. So parts of it might confuse, might not resonate. That's okay. Just use what is going to be helpful to you in this moment. I want to start out with painting the big picture of what happens in this industry that I see as mistakes, misalignment, and misery, of getting caught in these energetic extremes. And I've experienced both of them. The overly masculine, systemized approach is driven by thinking, analyzing, hustling. These entrepreneurs might make a lot of money, they might not. They're always future focused. And what that leads to often is pigeonholing yourself down. This might not apply to people in here as much, but I want to give you the big picture context of what's out there, is pigeonholing yourself down a pathway that becomes inauthentic and misaligned because you're just working so hard. And so you got the blinders on. Slow burnout, sellout, and unfulfillment is what this leads to. I've been there. Then there's the overly feminine approach. A business completely guided by feelings, energy, and intuition, which is great to a point. Making chunks of money here and there, but it's never predictable, and always living in the present. The result of that is oftentimes it's each month starting at ground zero, and emotional and energy swings drastically impacting the business. What I see happening is people getting stuck in this unsustainable bust and boom loop where the business is driven by the energy put in, and that's not something that's sustainable. So often I see these entrepreneurs needing to find another source of income and leaving their passion as a side business. There's a third category, and this is where what I see people getting stuck in what I call a predictably neutral approach. And this is what I would say is ineffectively mixing masculine and feminine energies. It's kind of being in that like messy middle where we're just not doing either effectively. It's those practitioners that are trading time for money for stability, making money consistently but not charging their worth, trying to live in the present but either stuck in past wounds and trauma or anxious about the future, usually a combination of both. And what happens to these people is they become so good at what they do, but they get stuck playing small. They don't make the full degree of impact they're here to make. Sorry, Courtney. Sorry, Nancy Marie. But I'm not sorry, because this is good. Triggering is good. We're gonna let go of all of that, which is an old paradigm here and holding us back from playing big. Here's how. If the vision is a wildly profitable, industry-leading, spiritually connected, intuitively guided, high-impact lifestyle business and living with ultimate freedom, does that sound? Does that sound like something people want?
Yes.
I know it's what I want. But we're not seeing results fast enough because we're not sure where to start. We're unclear on the niche. We don't have a clear offer. We're lacking the model. We're not playing as big as we know we can, or as aligned or authentic as we know we can in marketing. And maybe we're just overwhelmed. Simultaneously knowing that there's so much potential, but having that doubt or that fear holding us from expressing that potential, then what I want to show you is the best way that I know how to unlock that full entrepreneurial potential, that balance of masculine and feminine, to build a meaningful, impactful, freedom focused business that is energy balanced. And the formula is letting the masculine create the model and letting the feminine create the magic. And here's how I know what I consider to be the way. There's definitely going to be other ways, but this is just how I know best to make this happen. It's centering your career and your life around your superpower, around your natural essence, your innate gifts, exploring your true nature, expressing your gifts, and excelling in any facet of life that you truly desire. What I found among the happiest, healthiest, and highest earning humans on the planet, is that they bring together their masculine and their feminine energies. They collapse time by merging their past story with their present moment superpower and their future vision, bringing together those masculine and feminine elements to align their work and their world and create meaningful impact at will, with ease, and at scale. They know who they serve, they know how they serve, and they create systems to be able to live and work in their essence. Your superpower is that feminine magic. It's when you can rock up to a call and change someone's life in that moment without having done any prep or analysis. I bet Sarah does that all the time. It's that ability to know what your client needs before they need it. It is that ability to be in a flow state with a human and pull together everything you learned across your entire life in this one moment to create transformational change that's going to drastically alter the course of that human's life. That is your feminine superpower. And what we need to do is we need to understand that, and we need to put systems and structure around it so that you can fully harness it, cultivate it, and express it as powerfully as possible. And the result of that is a fun, flowing, freeing, fulfilling, financially abundant life. This making sense?
Mm-hmm.
And here's more of a roadmap that can put some structure behind this process. And it's how I've seen it done in the past. It's how I do it. And so that's what I know best. First, it's really understanding your story and your superpower, building your life's work into your most epic, ultimate offering to the world, the thing that you can use to make the most impact in the world, and working with people who you're meant to work with, those who are financially and emotionally committed. From a business perspective, I consider this a three-pronged approach of mission, your model, and your marketing. And I just want to share, once again, each of these topics I'm going to get into, there's depth to it, but I know that giving the roadmap of how this can work will provide so much that you can pull and use now. And so I think of mission as getting super clear on the impact that you are here to create in your client's life, and your world. Then connecting your story, where you've been, where you're at, and where you're going, to that impact. Most humans, when you ask them to hey, can you tell me about yourself? They'll tell the story that got them here. They'll justify where they are in the present moment, but what we need is to understand how your past story connects to the present moment. And even more importantly, this is going to be the masculine element, connects to that future vision, how the present moment is, your past story and present moment is driving that future vision, and getting clear on that future vision, having clarity in that world that you want to create. Because when you can articulate the world that you want to create, you begin to embody something bigger than you. And that is attractive to others. Your mission comprises of who you serve, what problem you solve, how you solve that problem, and what the impact is as a result. And when you can understand the type of people who you work with, and I don't just mean the demographic, I mean the psychographic, the people who you work with, their fears, their wants, their needs, their motivations, and you understand their biggest problem, the number one thing holding them back, and you know how you help those people remove their biggest problem, and you can describe the impact, you're set forever, because that is the heart of the most transformational, highest impact business. Really way to create value on this earth. And when it comes to the mission components, here are some key pieces that we can use, I think, immediately. When it comes to your story, as I mentioned, we need your story to best fit who you are now. Often people get stuck in their old story. The story they told in their corporate interviews is not the story we use to launch your business. We need a new story that represents who you are now. We need a North Star that lights you up. A North Star that your feminine can wake up and be excited about every day. A mission statement that guides your every move, but a mission statement that also grounds your energy. So that, you know, when caught in an emotional time, or, you know, an energetic low, the feminine can lean on that structure of that piece of written paper of who she serves, what problem she solves, how she solves that problem, and what the impact is, to refire her up and ground her energy into what she does and how she does it. Next, moving into, doing a quick time check here, the model. And so Sarah, we're set at in 15 minutes, right?
You can keep going, and whoever has to fall off can watch the end of the recording later. And I totally forgot, we're not live on Instagram, but maybe when we close this, you and I can ping some stuff and do a little live. People want to see.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's looking like I will go over. So for everyone that can stay, would love to have you stay. Then when it comes to the model, having a clear customer journey, it's knowing how you take your clients from where they are to where they want to be and mapping that out, then condensing that journey into an actual blueprint with processes, with touch points, with the timings, with limitations, clearly mapping out how you help humans, and packaging it up into something that is clear, concise, sellable, valuable, and yet authentic. And here's the magic of this portion. And if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're not in the transformational space, once again, look at the principles here and see what principles you can take away to whether it's applied to your job, your life, your work. When it comes to the actual model itself, here's what I believe. I believe that your model, your offer, what you do should be light, should be enjoyable, and should be authentic. The days of having to like do proposals and having to like wear a tie, I mean, you guys know that's over. So my question is like, what would feel light and easy to help humans with? How can you do this in the most enjoyable way? And how it can be more authentic in your client work? I found a direct correlation between, I often bring out my one-on-one clients to my home in San Diego, and we do ice bath, surfing, sauna, all the works, breath work, all the good stuff. And what I find is that every single time the clients don't say, I wish we did more whiteboard work. They say, oh, Matt, I wish we went surfing more. I wish we did more breath work. And it's funny to me. Like, I always think, you know, my default is like, oh, they're here to do the work. But actually what they're here for is to live the life. And so I really encourage you to play with that. How can you make what you do more fun and more authentic, more you? Because when your clients are having fun, when you're having fun, that is the most optimal environment to create those neural synapses that allow for permanent rewiring of the brain and actual change and transformation. That's the feminine element. Then when it comes to the masculine element, we have to make what we do finite, limited, with clear expectations. This is why I believe in having one clear ultimate offer with a finite period of time, with finite touch points, with limitations as to what you provide, because that is what gives clear expectations for you and for your client, and allows the project to stay within the bounds of the scope, not allowing for scope creep or you to become overwhelmed or energetically drained from your work. better for you and for your clients. Then when it comes to marketing, it's how can we know the impact we want to make. We have a mechanism for creating impact. Now, how can we emit our frequency in a way that attracts humans to us that are ready and willing and wanting of that transformation, of that offer, of that product? And this, I think marketing is a beautiful mix of the masculine and feminine here, of having I think having a clear launch plan that, call this marketing plan, launch plan, whatever strategy, having a clear and planned out way to broadcast your frequency, to post content, to send emails, but then allowing for the present moment expression. Because I think that when you have that structure, when you have that discipline, you give yourself the freedom to work within those guardrails, and you prime your mind, body, and spirit to not need to have to do marketing because you've already automated part of the process. And that's what's going to allow you to be ultimately free. And I find that my best marketing, it's not the stuff I plan out. It's actually what's in between what I plan out. But what's in between what I plan out wouldn't occur if I didn't plan out the stuff to create that bones, the structure. And that's really what I believe in for marketing strategy. It's how can we express your most real and raw self, your deepest truths and your experiences, all that good feminine stuff, but in a way that's strategized with marketing campaigns, in a way that take humans on a journey to work with you.
I feel like this is where you're building the container as the masculine. So when you're doing that, but then you allow the raw to come in, is also how you allow God to play in your business. So when you would say, like, here is the content of which I'm trying to move towards, helping people with their business. And I'm going to kind of build this idea structure of how I'm going to do that. But then I allow for the raw to come in. That's where, that's the sweet spot I feel like, where the miracles unfold. Co-creation.
That's the sweet spot.
Mm.
Absolutely. I think one can't happen without the other. And that same sweet spot applies to sales. I see too many people winging sales, but then I see too many people scripting sales. And we need the sweet spot. We need a clear process that aligns with you authentically, so that you know how your process works, so that you can actually, so when it comes to conversations you're having, they're real and they're authentic. That's when you have the freedom to be your highest expression, because you've already created the standards through which you operate within. And just some key takeaways here. It's, create a plan for your marketing, but share what's real time and present for you. Quantity is important, but quality is more critical. So focusing on that authenticity over doing a lot. I think there's a beautiful mix here of owning your highest potential, of owning the queen essence within you, of broadcasting the certainty of your purpose on the planet, mixing that with the deepest levels of vulnerability, of radical authenticity, of sharing the doubts, of sharing the fears. That is the beautiful mix when we're doing both. The mix that doesn't work is when we let the vulnerability and the fears creep in and hold us back from even sending it. And when you create standard rules for yourself that work for you, that's when you have the freedom to break them. So let's just take 3 minutes, because I do want to dive into the next piece. And write down just one thing which comes to your heart. Where can you more fully express your feminine magic inside your business or your work? And then what systems and structures do you know that you need to implement to better allow your feminine essence to flow more freely in your work?
I'll play some music for the writing.
If you're all set, just give me a thumbs up on your screen. And for those of you that need to jump, totally cool. It's been an honor. And this is actually a great stopping point if you do need to jump. The next piece that we're moving into is going to be freedom in your life. How do we take these concepts and actually apply them to the day-to-day? And I'm going to bet that we will finish up by the half an hour mark. So if you got those extra 15 or so minutes, then it would be epic if you could stay. The goal of balance in your life the objectives that we're going to go over here is balancing your time spent in your masculine and feminine expression effectively and toggling between masculine and feminine efficiently. What I see as a common problem, and I know this happens to everyone in some capacity, is that when you're in the present moment and your intention is to be in the present moment, thoughts that creep in about the future. What do I need to do? I forgot to, I need to do that. I should be doing this. Then on the other end of the spectrum is when you're in the deep work. You're building something you're building a workshop. You're building something for your client. That truly is future focused, and that's important. But when you let that FOMO about the present moment of like, oh, I don't know if I feel good enough to do this right now. I need to meditate. I need to XYZ, that is letting the present drip into future focused work in the present. And neither of these ways of being are what I believe to be effective. You're not fully enjoying the present moment if you're focusing on the future. And if you're focusing on the future intentionally, but you're letting present moment things distract you from that future, we're just being detractive to the whole, and we're not expressing our fullest capacity. And so here is another easy rule of thumb, that efficient time spent is either expressing that hyper present flow or expressing that hyper future focus. If we're ever in the middle, like things that are in the middle are oftentimes we're numbing, distracting, scrolling, just not efficiently used energy. When in those times, what we may need is the actual hyper present flow, that deep rest. And then when it's time to do the work, anything apart from getting into that deep work and being at your most present while focused on future focused activities is inefficient. And we're gonna do a little exercise to actually make this workable and usable with something I call the perfect day formula, because when we can map out our ultimate day, we're better able to bring balance in our life. Our perfect day is a beautiful microcosmic expression of our ultimate life, and it's a gateway to balance our energy. When you know your perfect day, it can be a wake-up call to see how you're not living in alignment with your natural energy flow and your future vision. It's a real-time opportunity to align your everyday with your natural energetic flow, and to North Star that we can build our life in alignment to. We're going to do a short, fun, powerful exercise of mapping out 2 types of days. While every day will have elements of masculine focus and feminine flow, I think it's a great exercise to map out, if I was to spend one day where my intention was to express my masculine essence, my masculine focus, and I wanted to maximize production, and I wanted to maximize effectiveness, what would that look like? Then if I was to map out a day of ultimate flow, of ultimate recharge, what would that look like? Because when we know that spectrum, we have the anchors through which we can better toggle within in a single given day. So what I'm going to do, simple exercise, I'm going to give you examples of what my perfect days look like. Then you get to map out your own. So an example of a focus day, again, for me, if my intention is to do the most focused, effective, powerful work, then what that looks like for me is waking up, it's priming for the work I'm going to do. It's doing the creative work, it's doing the client work. Then it's starting to, end the day, turning off, relaxing and priming for the next day, for the next focus day. Yeah, okay. That's what the focus day looks like. And then the next important piece here, which I think is often missed in this exercise, is how are you being? Being hyper intentional with how you're being in each moment. Because if we're meditating, but we're resisting the meditation, then it's not going to serve us energetically. If we're doing focused creative work, but we're distracted, it's not going to serve us energetically. If we're training for the sake of endorphins, it's not going to be the best thing for our bodies. And so having the attention, mapping out the what's, and then putting the hows is how we create magic here. That's a focus day. Again, intention here is masculine expression, getting the work done, and training. Future focused, building for the future. Flow day, intention, recharge, intention, intuition, intention, fun. Me, something like this, waking up, journaling in the sun, bit of reading, outdoor movement, great lunch, big adventure, dinner with social friends, then party on the beach. That's a great flow day. And how I'm being is easeful, graceful, energized, inspired, attuned, adventurous, ending fulfilled. So
I think this is so important that I'd love to jump in.
Totally, please.
Because how many of us are in these experiences where, my life is crazy magnetic fun and so many mind-blowing things that are happening, but I can easily be in the castle living and feel stuck in the past or stuck in the future. And that's the trap, is that we'll manifest these beautiful creations into our life, but then we don't live it. We don't celebrate it enough. We don't come here to that moment. And when you come here to that moment and you celebrate enough, you acknowledge it enough, the more comes in. And there's less of these up and downs and more of the stable, consistent growth. Because and that's the same with the opposite. So let's say the roof's leaking and your clients all dropped you in the same day. When you can stay in that easefulness, that gracefulness, that energized, that inspired, that attuned, receptive, adventurous state, that's also what I call the dark night. That's when the more and the miracles just keep getting to show up, because it comes from our energy. The neutrality point is what manifests our existence. Super important.
Yes. Thank you, Sarah. Nailed it. And when the structure that you've already put in place supports that flow, you're gold. And so it's your turn. And I just was inspired by Crystal. I'm too much in the flow. And Courtney as well. For your exercise, I'd like you to both, I wrote flow twice. Oh no, I didn't. Focus and flow. Okay. I'd like you all to map out both of your days, but put extra attention and focus on the one that you need more of. So for Courtney and Crystal, let's get super intentional with your focus day. Like, how can you what are installations that you can integrate into your life that would work with your energy, that would provide more space for you and more structure for you to have stability. So it is your turn. Easy exercise, 2 pieces of paper or 2 documents, or to map out, like there's one column is what are you doing? And then that column next to that's how are you being? From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. So I'll give you the next 10 minutes. 5 minutes on each day. Really, really work with. It might even pay. It might, just given this time frame, it might pay most to work on the day that you know you need more of. The day that's going to be less comfortable to work with. And I'll just leave up my example of a focus day. If there's any questions, now is a good time for questions as well.
No, I just lost connection because I'm traveling. Can you just give me some of those key points again? Because I felt it was very much needed for me. And I was just, this is right when you were saying that. Key points.
Crystal, you're cutting out so much, but maybe we can just take a screenshot of this one, or I can give you the recording too. Uh-oh, did we lose her? Okay, I'll send it to her.
Cool.
I
Yeah,
do
Chris,
have.
if you
Go
can
ahead.
hear, I'm gonna go actually after this exercise. I'm gonna go through a couple key points, just in summary. But I think recording will be the best bet.
What I'd love to talk on is what happens. So the feminine, typically when we women have emotions come up for us, we don't want to launch. We don't want to hustle. We want to fall into the arms of a man, or when the man has hurt us, like it can really take us off. So for the masculine to speak into this container, what happens when you are in a growth moment? So you're in expansion. You don't already have the generated clients, because once we have them generated, it's easy for us to ride that wave. But when you're in the expansion, up on the surfboard, you're trying to get up and the waves are hitting you, what helps you to still take masculine action? Like, what have you done that allows you, like, I don't know, somebody could be feeling sick or they're having sorrow and the sadness and they just don't want to launch. Do you tell yourself things? Like, what do you do to make sure you're staying focused to keep the launch going in the test?
Yeah, really good. Good question there. You don't want to resist what's happening. You don't want to resist, like, if you're feeling emotions, like those are real. So what I know is that in this journey, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be emotional swings, and that all we can do is create the systems to reduce the intensity of those swings, to reduce the magnitude of those swings, and to reduce the frequency of how often they happen. And that, I believe, is best done with the systems and the structure. And you create the systems and the structure when you're in the zone to create the systems and the structure. Like you're not going to want to create a future focused structure if you're feeling like grief and like pain. Like that's not a good state to create from. And so then the next part of that is how can we get into a state to create? It's how can we, number one, recognize where, and this is actually a formula that I use. It's called the REST formula. It's recognize, number one is recognize, recognize that you're in an emotional swing, energetic low. Recognize that as real. Recognize it as normal. Recognize it as true. E is embrace. Embrace it. There's no could be feelings, should be feelings, want to be feelings. Embrace it as where you're at. Then once we have recognized and embraced where we're at, we've given ourselves the ability to then shift. S is space. It's giving yourself the space to process, to notice it, name it, allow it, digest it. Space can be anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour to 5 hours to 5 days. But, you know, this is really when you're going to use your intuition to dictate that space. Then T is transmute. It's actually using tools in your energetic arsenal to shift your energy to a higher vibration so that you can get back to creativity, flow, bliss, all those good things. So recognize, embrace space and time, and then transmute.
I want to really dive into this because I'm feeling a deep energy around what you touched on right before you got into that. The structure that you are guiding everybody to create in their life is actually the safety net for your future.
Yes.
It is allowing the masculine to protect us. If you feminine want to allow the masculine to protect us, you create that structure so that your future is held in the timeline of what you desire, no matter how you're feeling. And so if you already have the system set up of, well, I take calls during this time, I work on this during this time, when you feel out of alignment, you know where your alignment is. And then he also gave you the rest component of where, okay, I can't get there right now, maybe I need to put a pause, but really emphasizing on why it is so important to forward plan the next day, the next week, the next month, and even work your goals from the end point backwards. You're creating your safety.
Love that. Love that. That is absolutely, that's it. It's building in the present moment to create structure and safety in the future. And Sarah, one thing that came to me as well is like along the questions of how, even when we're in a low or in emotions, this is when leveraging support, whether it's having coaches, healers, guides. Like I have 7 coaches in my life right now, all for different facets of my life, because I know that when I get into a funk, that's my most efficient, effective way to transmute my energy and get back to alignment. And the thing is that like my coach is just not gonna allow me to get stuck in story or get stuck in emotions. I have good coaches that allow me to feel them and help me feel them, but we feel them, we move on. And that's been my is actually like prioritizing a goal and installing accountability to get me to that goal is another big piece.
So important. Accountability. Yeah, can't hide. Thank you.
Thank you. And so I will close out the day and would love to hang out for questions if we have time and if anyone has any questions. So let's just go through some quick summarizing points. One of my favorites is that which makes you great is that which will hold you back. And when you address what's holding you back, you'll become exceptional. The thing that makes us most amazing is also the thing that holds us back. So y'all in here, your feminine magic is what makes you amazing. But if you stay too much in that, then it's going to hold us back. Whereas if you start to structure in that safety net for the future, then our magic can explode.
Oh, it's the double-edged sword. So I just in a curiosity, like a lot of the women on the call over in masculine, which the double-edged sword is then when we come to our masculine counterpart, like in partnership in life, like this is why what you're doing isn't just for business, right? You guys can take the codes of what Matt is teaching and apply it even in relationships, like the double-edged sword. If you are a leader, if you're moving in this energy, how do you apply these same principles with your children, with your partner, with whatever sacred contract and union that you have? I think these can all be applied, recognizing the double-edged sword and also using that and the benefit of it.
Version 2.
Yes.
With this process too, this is a lot. This is big, powerful, energetic stuff. Just play with it. Recognize where you're naturally at, give yourself what you're missing, and have fun with it. how can you find joy in what feels unnatural? If you hate systems, how can we change that language to I'm learning to love systems?
Get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
I know that in the past few like year, last like 2 years ago, I was so in that feminine mode of manifesting and intuitive business, and there was an activation energy required for me to start re-implementing systems. But now I'm in that place of it because I sat with that discomfort and started to how can I find fun again in creating that systems for me. So that's what I would encourage is notice the limiting language around the thing that you dislike, change that language and see how we can find joy in the whole process.
Oof.
Let your masculine create the model, let your feminine create the magic.
Ooh. Oh
And that is
There's multiple girls in the room right now that I can hear. I don't even know what everybody's doing that's silent, but I had to screenshot that one.
that's what we got for today. So I want to thank you all for participating, for your presence, for your amazingness, for your gifts to the world. I hope this was useful. I don't know what our timing looks like. Sarah can inform us after this on like if we have 10 minutes for questions or not.
Let's undo your
What-
screen. And then I want to take you live. And
Okay.
anybody who wants to stay on and ping him and we hold some energy for an additional 5 minutes till 10 minutes. Anybody up for that? Can I see an emoji? Oh, I got a solar face in it. Yay, I can see her.
Thank you all for the amazing comments too. It means a lot. It's the first time I'm presenting on this stuff. So